Welcome to San Casciano. It's me. Lupo Rosso.
There is a medieval carnival going on today in San Casciano, and we don't speak Italian, so we're missing out on a lot of the meat of the story of what all is exactly happening here. But as much as we've gathered is each of the streets, so each part of the village is represented with each of the flags, and I think they're all competing against each other, but I don't really know for what yet. But maybe I'll find out by the end of the day. This is my aunt and uncle.
Okay, take your best shot.
And as I mentioned in our last video, my cousins and I got together to make a family dream trip come true. Because between cancer and other health issues, we knew if we didn't make this trip happen now, it probably never would.
That's special. All the better to see you with, my dear.
That looks like Elton John.
Yeah.
And now our once relaxed little village is bustling with medieval artisans.
Sword, the spear, past this V, you also have this rim across all the armor. So over here, and over here, to prevent it from entering and going underneath your armor. Yeah. Which may or may not be. Lunch. Yes, lunch is a very important part of the day.
And this isn't a tourist gimmick. This is a celebration for the locals. It's a historical reenactment that may look reminiscent of a Renaissance fair, but this city is so ancient, this is the Middle Ages, a time when Florence was at odds with Siena and both were fighting for the stronghold on the region, which is where San Casciano comes in. Perched up on a hill just 15 kilometers to the south of Florence, it's an important line of defense to intercept the warriors coming from Siena. The parade is unlike anything we've ever seen, especially for a town of this size. It's a huge competition between the 5 neighborhoods of San Casciano: the Horse, Rooster, Lily, Lion, and Tower. Each of the scenes are based on local legends, and even though our Italian isn't good enough to understand the stories, the choreographed performances, costumes, and floats completely blew us away. And did I mention that all of this is free?
Thanks.
Let's see. Schwartz.
Oro nero.
Well, my aunt and uncle have arrived safely, and my uncle had maybe a little too much prosciutto at the medieval carnival, so he was feeling a little sluggish today, decided to stay home, take a rest, kick his feet up. But my aunt and I, if you remember my aunt, this is Rebecca, we are headed into Florence for our first little taste of Florence, and we have something very special planned for this evening. To the train we go.
I'm also on this adventure. One ticket to Florence.
Alamanni, stazione Santa Maria Novella.
Rebecca has never ever, you've never been to Europe? No. And this is her first time. This is your first kind of outside of San Casciano, which is like the small town. First little glimpse of Florence. What do you think so far?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Bellissimo.
Bellissimo, yes.
The weather is beautiful.
So this is the end of March, and this is really feels perfect outside. I would imagine middle of summer, this would be scorching.
Trees are blooming.
Trees are blooming. It's a good time. It's not overly crowded because it's not heavy tourist season yet. We're right on the cusp.
Perfect
Shoulder
weather.
season is
We are walking towards the Duomo, which is like the big dome in the historic plaza. It's absolutely gorgeous, so I'm hoping that when Rebecca sees it for the first time, she's just gonna be like, oh my god, it looks insane.
It looks like Disneyland. It doesn't even look real. Florence is known as the heart of the Renaissance, bringing Europe out of the Middle Ages and into the modern age. It was a time where art, science, and philosophy all came together. Think Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Galileo, and Machiavelli. So we're just walking around and soaking it all in because I'm not bothering with tours or any of that kind of stuff today. We're going to wait for the rest of the family before we do all of that. It's all just very surreal, kind of, it just doesn't even look real. And then thinking about how many hundreds of years old this is. I mean, I don't know, 900. I can't even do the math right now. I'm a bit overwhelmed. But we're walking and looking and standing in the same exact spot that people 800 years ago stood. And if you just swapped out clothing, it would be like being transported back in time. Okay, so maybe it would take more than a clothing swap, but you get the idea.
This is the one.
Oh my.
Because when in Italy, you must consume your body weight in gelato. You almost got that whipped my ice cream.
You almost whipped your ice cream?
You almost whipped my ice cream. Hey, fun fact, while you're there, the difference between gelato and American ice cream, or typical ice cream, is gelato just literally means ice cream in English, but it's slow churned, which kind of gives it that light, fluffy texture and creamy flavor. The Piazza della Signoria is the most famous square in Florence. It was once the center of Florentine life and politics and has some of Italy's greatest artists on display. Each statue represents or symbolizes a different chapter in Florence's history, and many of them are telling some pretty gruesome stories of murder, rape, religion, and mythology.
It was a hard life.
It was. It's dark times. Finally, we're at our main destination.
We're at Ponte Vecchio, which is the old bridge.
It's the oldest remaining medieval bridge in Florence. It dates all the way back to 945 AD, and up until 1593, its shops were filled with butchers, tanners, and farmers that would create quite the stench. But when the Medici family, some powerful bankers, moved across the river, they didn't want any visiting dignitaries to have to endure the smell. So the Medicis decided that only goldsmiths and jewelers could occupy the ancient workshops. And this is the last working jeweler on the Ponte Vecchio.
Hello. Buonasera.
I'm Elisa, and I'm the fourth generation of a family business who was started by my great-grandfather Pirro in 1903. We are celebrating 120 years this year. I know I look. I don't look 120, but I am. No, and I grew up in this place actually, and has been in my family forever. And this is where everything started, and hopefully it's where it keeps on going. So maybe my son, who's gonna be the fifth generation, is gonna take over, and who knows? That's how it works.
Yeah.
My grandfather and his two brothers, and among them, my great uncle was the artist of the family. He always told me that he was in love with what he was doing, and for him coming to work was a big pleasure. And that is something that I always, how do you say, envy, when you
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can envy that. I mean, I think lots of people envy that.
Because for him was like just a passion, you know. To him, coming here was just part of.
They say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
He never worked a day in his life.
No, that's pretty incredible though, especially if you truly feel that way. Yeah, that's
so. It was something amazing. Really. And I kind of inherited the passion because when you grow up in something like that, you have no other choices. And it's just part of your world. That's how it works.
Well, and with everybody around you loves something so much, it's probably hard not to love it too.
Maybe yes, maybe you're right. I don't know if you know that Botticelli, who painted the Birth of Venus and the Primavera, was also botanic. And he loved flowers and fruits and everything. So we have a collection which is called Bloom, which resemble all the flowers and the fruits that are in his two paintings. This collection is completely done by hand. They're miniature, painted by hand. Wow. Engraving by hands, you have to get into the metal, and even if you polish it after, it still gets a little rough. This is called Prato Verde, and it's from there. This is the agrumi. It comes from the oranges over here. These are earrings.
Love those.
And you can see each one is different because they are. This one is that one.
Wow.
But these are delicate but beautiful, and I do love the fact that it's like, I don't know, it's you know what went into it, and quite literally you know the hands that made it and the family, and feels so artisanal, you know, and so specific and special.
This one here, which is called Palazzo Vecchio. Giglio. This is the top part of the entrance of Palazzo Vecchio. So this is the Lily of Florence with baguette diamonds, and it's kind of resembled that one. Wow. And again, you have all the engraving here.
Each piece tells a story.
It does tell a story. I love it.
This is an emerald that was engraved by my great uncle, and it was given to my mom for her wedding. So this is my mom's.
Now this. So this is a cameo. This is like
he
one
had
of my...
an amazing hands to engrave. He won the biennial prize for engraving on stones when he was 22. Boy. He had an amazing hand.
He's the one who taught you.
So cameos are one of my all-time favorites.
And on emeralds it's very hard because you know they're very fragile. So.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's beautiful. I just love the detail that goes into them. So it's like you know how long somebody labored over that. It's beautiful. Oh, even the chain is lovely. Oh, dainty, pretty little things. Because this is so much more detailed than any
So it's short in here because right above us is the Medici corridor, and it was built so long ago that technically it's not high enough up to like spec right now for like building code.
Working standards?
Exactly, but it's so historic that they can get away from it. They get like a special easement so they don't have to change it. And she's like, well, I would love to go higher if we could, if you want us to go into the Medici corridor. And they're like, no.
These kind of shops are called Bodega. And the beauty of it was just that all different kind of artists were entering the Bodega. So, and they were friends with different kind of artists. So they were maybe painters or sculptors, not only goldsmith and whatever. And they were getting together once a week. So when I grew up, he used to take me with him, and I met all these unusual
characters.
It was amazing, but was way different because time was passing by slowly compared to now, so you had more time to enjoy. And being an artist, really you need time because there's nothing you can force.
No.
And this is very difficult nowadays because even when we create something, I don't know why, but everything has to be like boom, boom, boom. It's like if you get it first, it's because you're more powerful or you count more than someone else, which doesn't have anything to do with a creation of something which is handmade.
Yeah.
If it's a mass production, it's okay. Otherwise, it's impossible. And the nicer part is to wait for something to be created than actually the creation itself. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
but it's not always like this. So
Rome wasn't built in a day.
no, it's true.
This is like living history.
This is our workshop that has been here since my great-grandfather started the business in 1903, and this is where he used to work. Now we have Carlotta, which is our goldsmith, and she sits here at the bench every day. And this is where she works. So these are all the tools that she uses in order to create things. Here is where we collect the gold once you work with the things, because you have to collect all the powder that you get from working the pieces, and it's called garbage. So you have it all mixed. It doesn't matter. You put everything in it, and then there's a special firm that comes and collect it and separate the precious part from nothing.
I guess because when you're working with gold, you definitely recycle.
Yeah.
See, you have to recycle. It's mandatory.
Yes.
First generation recyclers.
See,
And tell them about that.
see, and this one, this part of wood floor was all over the place because you have the powder all over you, even if you try to be very, very carefully. So what is happening is that the gold powder goes on the floor, then you pull up the wood bars and you sweep. And you collect the garbage again, and you put it always in the same thing so that at the end you have gold, hopefully. Yes.
That's incredible.
So these are all tools, even if they look like a big mess, but we use them all.
And your chalks.
And these are the chalks that are from antique pieces that have been done. We keep on doing it. So this is something we have done last year, for example. And each time we do something that needs to be maybe redone, we do this so that we can see all the details exactly. For example, this is a part of the clasp.
Oh.
So,
the
and it's it's a bracelet.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. When you pay attention.
See, you see all the details, even for the engraving, if you want to redo it, it's something that you can see it right away.
That's what I was telling us, that with these, there's so much more detailed than you can ever get with like a computer rendering or
See.
anything like that. So this is still the best possible way, like to be the most accurate, the most detailed, which is interesting because it seems like now with so many things, the computer rendering is so much more
See,
detailed.
it's fantastic because you can
Yeah.
turn it around and you can assemble it and whatever. But still, this at first sight, it's something that it's more. Maybe because we've been in business so and we're more accustomed to this, but this is more it's touching
more textile.
something.
Yeah,
So-
you're like you want the touch, you
See.
want the feel. Yeah, you can see the three-dimensional.
exactly, and you can feel it because touch is part of the
whole process.
See.
Yeah.
But even when you try something on, this something that is smooth or is more rough, and the stones, it has a different feeling if you're able to touch things.
Yeah.
Than
It
just
can't be manufactured when it comes from the top.
it has to. It's true.
Very good way to do it.
It's exactly no. And this is where we melt the gold. So we put the pure gold in here with the alloy, which could be either silver or copper and everything. You melt it.
This is the glass that I use to melt the gold. This is my look, special look, not disco look, but
And once it's melted, you put it in this bar over here. So you get a gold bar. Then you start working. So it depends if you need something flat or if you need more a wire, according to what you're supposed to do.
And she was saying it's just like making pasta.
See,
So
of course.
Do you want flat pasta?
We make gold pasta. If you need a wire to do something in particular, you use this machine here, which is not a Churchill machine, but it's called tirafili. And what you do, you start putting the wire of gold in here according to the size you need to make. You can start from, you see, the big ones
yes,
there
all the
and
different
lower and lower.
diameters. Yeah.
Yes. So you put the wire in the bigger hole, and then you keep on pulling it into different sizes till you get the size you need. So you get the wire here, and then you pull it. It's like making pasta, actually.
Yeah, and then all the different like little sanding and polishing.
Yeah, this is the polishing machine.
That's probably the newest machine.
This
in
is
here.
new because the old one broke, but the old one is down there. We divided all the pieces and we kept also the old one.
You have to see that. Like,
Ready? Hello?
One more time.
Okay, say ciao.
Sono io, per caso?
No, l'anello.
Credevo.
Okay.
Oh, that's so neat. So look, before we leave this room, I just want to point out, because what's really interesting is the only thing that has changed about this throughout those 4 generations so far is the people that have sat here, because everything else has stayed the same. The view is essentially the same. The workstation is the same. So it's just the hands, the people sitting in the chairs.
When you sit here, do you have memories?
See, now I can still picture my great uncle sitting there and engraving lapis lazuli or painting and everything. I do remember him.
Yes.
This was his world. He couldn't care less.
He stayed from morning till night.
But even when he was 80, 85, he couldn't see them much, so he was engraving bigger things because...
I said I don't see any better now, so I make things a little bit bigger.
Bigger, so I can see better. So he was engraving. No, but it's true. And it was a great thing because, you know, there was my great uncle, my grandfather, and the other brother. So each of them had a different kind of skills, so they were doing different things. But Uncle Armando was the one that was sitting here, who was producing, he was the artist.
So then that would have been, so did you run the business, or did you ever make as well?
No, I cannot even draw a
No.
zero.
No, she's... No.
I am terrible. Yes. She used to do it.
I used to see.
Yes.
No, but she's terrible. She has ideas, but she needs someone to draw her ideas.
I transmit my ideas.
It's all here for her.
That's okay.
See,
That's part of the
I
process.
cannot even draw a zero. It's not bad. No, but it's true. She's terrible.
No, I can't.
And even her handwriting is terrible.
She's the
Yes.
ideal woman.
In Italy we have a saying, you write like an egg. An hen. You see?
And scratching.
Like
Yes.
doctors, you know, doctors
Yes.
when they're right.
Chicken scratch.
Chicken scratch.
Chicken
scratch.
Chicken
Yes.
scratch. That's what she does. Sì.
I might go grab my sweater.
C'è le macchine dell'aria condizionata.
Have a sandwich before they
Oh, they're all
finish them.
gone, yeah.
Before the sweater.
No, Michele no.
Even my mom. My mom and Michele. No, not even my mom. So next time you come with a catamarano here. And when you go down, we open the bathroom. There you go. Vieni mammina, vieni porta fortuna. This is good luck, you know what we do? Here,
Give me some.
I'll give you some.
Grazie.
Prego. Venga. Grazie.
She can't be more lucky than she was.
She
Meeting me.
needs this. I need the bottle. Prendi parte bagnaticcia da qui. Tieni, ti do questo.
Hey, well,
Stavano fermando.
It is incredible to be at, you know, the oldest working jewelry shop on the old bridge. Like, just so much history here.
It's so exciting to hear how they began and the tools they used and that they still use. They still use the same workshop. They still have the same values. It's been passed on through the generations, like you may do. You may have children that you like to pass things on to, and they pass on the love of their craft. And it lives on through the people who wear it and who are fortunate enough to experience the quality of work and the history behind each.
She's clearly hired as a spokesperson.
I'm glad you guys had fun.
I know.
We
It
did
was.
have fun.
It was a
We
beautiful
did have
experience.
fun.
It was fun. Unfortunately, I do not think they give out party favors at the door. But we have the memories of all of
We
it.
do.
Good
It's
girls'
another
night.
memory for us.
That's right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ciao.
We'll see you next week.
Ciao,
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Salut. Oh, you didn't look at me. You're gonna have bad luck.
Huh?